Hello guys, Blabberhead 200 here, and over the holidays I was looking to upgrade a lot of things in the setup, and one of those things was my audio. I was using $30 Insignia speakers and they weren't doing me any justice. So I decided to pick up the BassPULSE 2.1s, and here are my final opinions. Starting with the treble part, it's a nice clear glass, which is really cool and a nice, neat little aspect. They have 4 LEDs on the bottom, which means that the brightness isn't consistent throughout the entire thing. A lot of the blue light is coming directly from the bottom, and by the top, you don't really get much of that blue hue. It's kind of disappointing for me because I have a bit of OCD. There's an etched pattern on it that looks like a 10-year-old just was given a ruler and they're like, "Here, Billy, knock yourself out." I personally didn't like this because this is a very creative product regarding design, so for them to go and just throw random lines on it for no apparent reason is kind of disappointing. I really wish that there was something additional, but nonetheless it looks pretty cool. The actual speaker part of these is pretty nice. They keep it very thin so that when you actually line it up it looks very, very thin. It's really cool to add into the setup. The treble is actually fairly good for something called the BassPULSE speakers. For me, I'm personally a big fan of Daft Punk, Arctic Monkeys, AC/DC, and I listen to a lot of movie soundtracks. The Avengers Age of Ultron soundtrack I've obviously been listening to, so I have a lot of good times regarding music, and the treble held up throughout all the genres that I take a look at. Now moving to the star of the show, which is this amazing subwoofer. It obviously has some beautiful bass, which makes my heart pound. I actually had to do a Rube Goldberg machine in science, and what I did was plug my phone into that subwoofer, turned up the bass all the way, and it was able to knock down a bottle and eventually turn on my computer. Rube Goldberg was really hard. I only got a B on that, but nonetheless that was probably the coolest part of my project. The LEDs on the subwoofer are very, very stable and much more prominent than they are on the trebles. They're absolutely beautiful and a great time. The equalizer controls on it are great, and I love the fact that I can turn down the bass. As someone who's not necessarily a bass head, but still appreciates it, it's nice to be able to twine that to my personal liking. There's a pulse button, which allows you to turn on and off the light, which is really, really convenient because the power button is on the back of the subwoofer. So for a lot of people who sleep with their computers, like me, it's kind of a struggle to have a bright blue light on all the time. So just hitting that pulse button is really convenient. Now, a big selling point to these is the fact that they will pulse with the bass line, right? Well, they technically do, but not to the extent that I really wish they did. That was a bad voice crack. Now, personally, as a percussionist, they're just sort of going on the beat, nothing really special, and it's not very prominent. I barely notice it even when I have it turned up, and it's really not that fun for me. So I usually just keep it down, and I just don't notice it. So if you're really buying these just for that, don't. Nonetheless, these are awesome speakers, but it's not the greatest selling feature, and it's really just kind of a gimmick. And on to sound quality. As I've stated in the past, the bass is head rocking. It's absolutely beautiful. My desk has literally shaken at the power of these things. The bass is amazing, and you will never go back to anything else. The classical music that I listen to is still well balanced though, and while there are times when no tuba should be louder than a trumpet, ever, it was still nothing that I would take a double take on and get angry at. I mean, I'm not an audiophile. I'm not someone who is gonna notice the wave frequencies of my music. I just notice when it sounds good. I listen to a lot of jazz and orchestral music and samba and calypso, and this really did suit me wherever I went, and I always had an amazing listening experience. The audio quality is fine and probably the best you'll find for an average consumer, and if you're an audiophile, the fact you're still watching this video is amazing. Overall, these are amazing speakers, and for the sub $100 price point, I'm gonna go out and say that these are probably the best speakers for the average consumer for that price point. So if you're looking for amazing bass, something that'll really add a pizzazz to your setup, and something that is overall very, very consistent and good, check these out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, drop me a comment down below why you didn't. This is Blabberhead 200, and I got more videos coming your way.